Hey mamas, today I want to talk about blame and why you may feel the need to blame someone else or something else for the way that you feel when something seems to have gone wrong. So if your parents or primary caregivers used to do this, blame someone else, project their uncomfortable feelings onto someone else in order to make themselves feel better, then it's very likely that you're going to do the same thing. This is how we learn about ourselves and the world, through following the actions of our parents and learning their beliefs, inheriting them off them. So this might well be learnt behaviour in you. There may be another reason too. If your parents weren't able to regulate their emotions, they didn't know how to make themselves feel better when it felt like something was going wrong, then they probably didn't help you do the same because they didn't know how to. So it's really important that we recognize the need that we might have to blame someone or something else if we're not feeling good. I know that I used to do this a lot, and it was definitely learnt behaviour. And when I realised that I was doing it, it's much, much easier to change that behaviour because you've made that pattern conscious. An unconscious pattern will rule you. It will govern you because it's unconscious. Once you've made it conscious by realising that that's what you're doing, it's much easier then to make a choice not to do it. So if you realize that this is what you're doing, that when you feel uncomfortable, it feels so uncomfortable that it makes you feel better to say it's someone's fault, or it's the fault of something that happened that made you feel this way, then ask yourself why you're not able to sit with that uncomfortable feeling yourself. Once you realize that that's very difficult, then of course you can learn how to regulate yourself. And that comes really from practice. So the first thing is noticing that you're projecting your feelings onto someone or something else. The second step is to learn to sit with that feeling before you project it, to feel it in your body. Where are you feeling it? Is it a crushing sense on your chest? Is it a tight throat? Do you feel like you can't speak or express what it is that you need to express? Is it a tightening in your shoulders, a hunching up, a kind of armoring of your body? Do all your muscles get tight? Is it a kind of sicky, uncomfortable feeling in your belly? So these are a couple of examples of how you might be reacting to the uncomfortable feelings that are coming up when you think something has gone wrong. So you can sit with these feelings, practice being with these feelings, breathing through them, allowing them, welcoming them. Emotions are just energy that wants to pass through you. It doesn't want to get stuck in you. So by welcoming it and noticing, oh yeah, I feel really uncomfortable right now. I can feel a really strong pressing sensation on my chest. I can't breathe properly. This isn't fun. And just sitting with it, allowing it to do what it needs to do, it will release. And the third part is looking at why you think something has gone wrong. What would it have looked like for it to go right? Where is this judgment coming from that something could have gone better than it did do? And how can you start to accept that it is what it is? Because the more we fight against the way that something is, the more anxiety that creates. The more anxiety that creates, the more uncomfortable we feel. The more uncomfortable we feel, the more we want to project it onto someone or something else. So it all really starts with accepting what is and understanding that there is no such thing as wrong or right. These are labels that we give events. They're not inherent in the event. Now, obviously, you might say, well, that's not true. Something's going to be objectively worse than something else. Of course, things can feel very, very difficult, and it can seem that something has gone tragically wrong. And we don't know what the next step is going to be. We don't know what's going to come next. We don't know if something was going to happen after this that was even worse. We don't know if this has changed us in some way that we needed to change. Basically, we don't know the bigger picture because we're in the present moment. So if we want to be able to regulate how we feel in the moment, which is the only thing that we're in control of, really, how we react to things, then we have to learn to accept what is, because we can't change it. So when we can do that, and that's a practice, that's literally a practice, and understanding why it might be difficult for you to do so, particularly if you've got childhood trauma and things were always going wrong and it felt very difficult and perhaps unsafe, then of course that's inner child work, reparenting your inner child, but that's for another video. So there are many strands to this, but in essence, if you feel the need to blame, work out where this came from. Is it learnt behavior? Is it because you can't regulate your emotions? In that case, learn to regulate them, learn to sit with them, learn to inner parent your inner child through it, because no doubt she's the one that's feeling anxious and flustered. And lastly, learn to accept things as they are, which is a practice. None of these things happen straight away, but the more you can do that, the more calm you will feel in the moment, and the less need you will have to blame others, which is not a very nice trait. And if you're anything like me, you are blaming those closest to you, your children, your partner. So it's not very nice for them to be around someone that's constantly blaming them when actually it wasn't really their fault. Hope that helped. Lots of love, and if you want any more tips and tools on how to be calm, how to manage your emotions, how to heal your past, please visit my website, laviniabrown.com. Look on the blogs page, lots of blogs and vlogs to help you to be the mama, wife, partner, woman you want to be.